Okay, so the curse of the eighth decade is in. It's about 80 years, coming up to 80 years since Israel was formed. And I talked about that more than a year ago. That has Israel fulfilled the prophecy of its own collapse? And so that's kind of what this phrase means. I didn't know that phrase until more recently, the curse of the eighth decade, which is something about how Israel, the tribe of Israel, tends to only be able to achieve things for about a lifetime, basically 80 years. So, well, my prognosis on that is that, yeah, stupidity can only last about one lifetime. And it's been a really stupid idea to have a country where you bring millions of people from around the world of your own cult, basically. You have to be that cult, right? Where the male babies get the snip. You have to be in that cult and move to Israel if you want to, from anywhere around the world. So since 1950, 3 million people, Jews, have moved to Israel, and they've had an average of 3 children per woman, right? So whatever you do the math on that, but it's a lot of people. So to have a country like that is a form of madness, a cult country, and so now you're coming up to the end of it. Israel looks like it will be in collapse. It has committed a great madness of epic proportions. So sad for the Palestinians, the Gazans. You know, don't forget, Israel bombed Gaza in winter spring 2023. It bombed Gaza and shot people in the summer of 2023. And it bombed Gaza in September 2023, right? So I think the Gazans maybe have a right to respond, that famous phrase that Israelis have been using, because they were bombing Gaza all year. Just take the year 2023. Every so often they bomb Gaza, killing women and children, claiming that they're trying to kill Hamas or something, right? So that's what they were doing. And so Gaza responds, tries to respond with its paragliders, sort of jerry-rigged jeeps and things like that. And most of the atrocities that were claimed did not happen. They didn't happen, all that stuff. 40 beheaded babies, babies thrown in ovens, rapes. None of that was proven, and even Israel has admitted that none of that was proven. It's just the kind of atrocity war propaganda that builds up every single time. So Gaza had the right to respond, right? You could say. I mean, if I was in a sort of open air prison camp, which was you weren't really allowed in and out very much. Their port was blockaded. Their only port was blockaded by Israel for decades now. So yeah, I think I'd probably fight back if you're killing my children, and my family, and my friends and family and all that, and my people. Yeah, I'd definitely fight back. So would you, wouldn't you? You would. So no, October the 7th was not the beginning of this in 2023. It's been going on the whole of that year. Defenseless people being bombed by Israel, the whole of 2023, before October the 7th, and for years and years before that, and you can go back in history as far as you want. The justification for this is mad. You can't have a country where you bring in all these people of your cult to slowly take over the land, the businesses, the jobs of the indigenous people. That's the Jews and the Palestinians, the indigenous Jews and the indigenous Palestinians, right? So it's just a mad idea. But now they've gone way over the top. It kind of almost shows, I don't want to say that, but certainly these Zionists, which is different from Jews. We're not against Jews, although I'm against the cult practices of the Jews, which is marking the baby males with the mark of the cult. Had a different phrase in the Bible, didn't it? But yeah, the mark of the cult. I think it's disgusting to mark your male babies like cattle. So that's going to end, hopefully. You got to stop it, it's stupid. But I'm against that cult, but I'm also definitely against the Zionist project, which is a colonialist project to bring in millions of Jews from around the world to that area and take it over and push everyone else out. So a criminal, by any standards, it's actually a criminal project. Should never have been allowed. Now it's too late. And so they have almost destroyed Gaza. The Gazans will never forgive you. Never. And most of the Arab world will not forgive you. So you're going to go into economic collapse. America will stop funding you, and the West will stop funding you. You will go into a kind of economic collapse, and that will spread out into a couple of 3 years of decline and collapse. And I don't know how it goes down, but it looks to me that Israel is finished, as I predicted more than a year ago. And, which is a shame because I was in Israel in 1986, hitchhiking around on my own when there were no walls, no fences, and no two states. So I wish there was a one state, which was a democracy without this alaya, which is bringing in all the Jews from around the world to dominate the place. And so it's just Netanyahu and all his ilk seem to be mentally incompetent to thought that this is how to deal with things. It just shows that these Zionists and the Israelis and the Israeli government, many Israelis, are not mentally competent. They might be well educated, but they're not. They don't really understand how the world works, and this will end up in the curse of the 8th decade, whereby Israel will collapse. I don't see how that even. I don't see that there's any way that Israel can survive this, what most of the world now thinks of as a sort of a demonic country, that brings in all these people to bolster itself from around the world, Jews of the cult. Most people think that is a demonic sort of place, even if there was a negotiations and everyone said kumbaya, which they won't. The Gazans will never forgive Israel or never be able to talk to an Israeli in any meaningful way without thinking this is a demon of some sort. So I'm sorry, I think Israel's finished, and I think Judaism should shut itself down and stop the snipping of the male babies, stop the cult. If you do that one thing, the cult ends, and I think many Jews have stopped doing it around the world. But, and I know that's a bit weird to talk about the snip by the rabbis, but it really is a mark of the cult. And we've seen now that it ends up in a sort of animal, bestial behavior, demonic. And so maybe that's what they were talking. I don't remember that part of the Bible, but they talked about the mark of the beast. I think that's what it is. That's it. The Zionist cult. Judaism must end, meaning you can stop the rabbi child abuse of male babies. That has to end because it's an extremist tribalist cult and has no place in a human world family who are humans and not designating themselves by a snip as being different from everybody else, marked like cattle. And Israel is going to collapse. That's my prediction. It's the curse of the 8th decade. As the Jews said themselves, it's over.